Is mental illness something you can see? Look to your left. Look to your right. Look behind you. You can actually do it. Tap the person in front of you. Statistically speaking, if you are not battling a mental illness, one of those 4 people is going through it right now. The person to your left. What if today is the first time they've left their home in a week because they haven't been able to snap out of an endless depression? Would you be able to tell? The person to your right. Would you be able to tell if they just lost a loved one who died by suicide? Is it possible to know if someone in the audience today is just hours away from their last breath because they can't stand being alone in their own head anymore? Maybe that person is here right now. Or maybe they will watch this talk at home. If that person really is hours away from their last breath and they take their own life, would you care? Would it make a difference to you? If you are able, please stand up out of your chair to show that person that they are not alone. Show them that you would care. Thank you. Sometimes signs of struggle are clear. Sometimes you just can't see them. In one of these photos, I am suffering. It was taken 3 days after I completed a month of inpatient treatment. 12 hours after the picture, I got so high that it caused a psychotic episode. Something inside me said I needed to jump off my balcony. In the other picture, I am 3 days away from 3 months of recovery. Can you tell which one is which? I'm wearing the same shoes, playing the same sport, and standing next to the same person, my older brother, Mark. You can see my smile, but can you tell when I was a prisoner of my own brain, a slave to the monster of addiction? Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about, diagnosed mental illness or not. Rejection, disappointment, failure, pain, setback, defeat, divorce, the loss of a loved one. A lot of these battles you just can't see. Mental illness is one of them. It's an invisible challenge. The day we quit viewing mental illness as a moral failing and shift toward an approach of empathy and compassion is the day that we would begin to save more lives. I have battled things that others can't see. I do every day. Maybe my invisible challenge started January 17th, 2023, when I started to learn the price of recovery was truly uncontrollable anxiety and debilitating obsessive-compulsive tendencies. Maybe it started the last time I was high, January 16th, 2023, when my psychiatrist and best friend told me that I had to go to rehab, and if I left my apartment, they would call the police. Maybe it started November 20th, 2022, when I hallucinated during a psychotic break and watched myself die. Maybe it started October 19th, 2022, when I checked myself into a treatment facility because I could not stop risking my life to get high. Maybe it started December 5th, 2021, when my parents and I packed up my dorm room halfway through the year for the second time because I once again proved I could not manage college. Maybe it started February 29th, 2020, when I was on my 10th drink of the night, a bit over 48 hours after completing 75 days in treatment. Maybe it started December 15th, 2019, when I was admitted to my first treatment center for mental illness and addiction, forced to pack up my stall and hug my best friends goodbye in the middle of the hockey season. Maybe it started Thursday, December 5th, 2019, around 6 o'clock in the morning when I had not slept since Monday night and was still not tired. Maybe it started August 22nd, 2019, when a cardiologist told me that smoking weed put me at risk of a massive heart attack. Maybe it started December 19th, 2018, when my ex-girlfriend died by suicide at 19 years old. Maybe it started June 16th, 2017, when I was strapped to a stretcher and transported by ambulance to a psych ward. Maybe it started April 28th, 2017, when I first encountered clear hypomanic symptoms of bipolar I disorder and had no idea. Maybe my invisible challenge started March 10th, 2017, when I left my fourth house in 5 months playing junior hockey, losing my grasp of what a home is. I think this is when it all started. Maybe the onset of my invisible challenge was inevitable, and no matter what I did, no matter who I called, no matter how hard I tried, I just could not stop it from happening. According to the Movember Foundation, 1 man dies by suicide every minute of every day. That might just sound like another stat, but by the time I get off this stage, nearly 20 men on this earth will lose their will to live. A lot of those deaths are because of shame. For a long time, I was willing to tell someone that I have ADHD, anxiety, or even battle depression, but I would hide my bipolar diagnosis. Why? Is it because it's less common? Less understood? Both? I think it is because there is still a stigma. I am more open about my own mental health struggles than anyone I know, and I am still scared of what someone might think of me if they hear bipolar. In a recent yoga nidra practice for addiction recovery, I was listening to the guided meditation. That meditation said, beneath the surface of addictions, there is pain, longing, and unmet needs. Each of us in our search for relief or escape from suffering might find ourselves walking along a path. Not because we choose it with a clear mind, but because it seems like the only path available in that moment of pain. The guided voice goes on to talk about Dr. Gabor Mate, a renowned physician and author. He said, addiction is not a choice that anybody makes. It's not a moral failure. It's not an ethical lapse. It's not a weakness of character. It's not a failure of will, which is how our society depicts addiction. What it actually is, it's a response to human suffering. I also want to quote one of my favorite motivational speakers, Eric Thomas. He said, pain is temporary. It may last for a minute, or an hour, or a day, or even a year. But eventually it will subside, and something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever. This was true for me, except that minute or hour or day or even a year lasted for over 6 years. Deep down, I was in pain. That's not to say I didn't smile, laugh, or have fun. I did. But I was unhealthy to my core for a long time. I needed to get better and stop using, but I didn't know how. I still struggle. I struggle to get up in the morning. I struggle with motivation to exercise. I struggle with stress and anxiety. I struggle with OCD symptoms. I struggle with depression symptoms. The difference is that I'm not suffering anymore. I'm not in pain. I didn't quit. Recovery never ends. There is no cure for addiction. I am in remission from the disease of addiction. It will always be inside my brain. I just don't use anymore. I still want to get high. A part of me probably always will. Hopefully that part gets smaller and quieter. From a common outside perspective, recovery is just, oh wow, he doesn't drink anymore. It really is not like that at all. A lot of days I really want to get high. There are two parts of my brain though. The piece of me that wants to get high is the addiction voice. Some days that voice is loud. The tricky part is that voice is in the same tone as the other part of my brain, my rational voice. Sometimes it can be hard to know which one to listen to. Every morning, I wake up with untreated addiction. Every day is work. Every day is a battle. Some days are just an easier fight than others. Some people in recovery eventually lose their desire to drink or use. I am not there yet. No one progresses through the stages of recovery exactly the same. A recent counselor of mine once said to me, "If you go to bed sober tonight, you are winning." I think this just goes to show how challenging recovery can be sometimes. There have been days where all I had to do was go to bed without getting messed up. There will be more of them. Addiction is giving up everything for one thing. Recovery is giving up one thing for everything. My disorders do not define me. I might have a mental illness called bipolar disorder, but I'm not bipolar. I might have obsessive compulsive tendencies, but I'm not OCD. Someone who deals with psychosis or has had a psychotic episode like me is not a psycho. Things they do are not psychotic. I met someone in treatment. He was a dad, maybe in his 40s, struggling with bipolar disorder. His daughter tried to cut her fingers off with scissors in a psychotic episode. She was 9 years old. So if you are here today or watching this at home, the next time you use the word psycho or hear someone say you are psychotic, think of this man. Think of his daughter. If that's not good enough for you, think of me. Almost 2 years ago to this day, my brain was hijacked in a psychotic episode for 3 hours. I didn't want to kill myself. In my mind, I already had. Something was pulling me to my death, and I had images of people I would hurt after I died. I'm lucky I didn't jump off my balcony. I'm lucky to be breathing right now. The other one I want to talk about is suicide. With a show of hands, has anyone ever heard someone casually say, "I'm going to kill myself"? Maybe something like, "I have so much work to do, I'm going to kill myself." People who say this, unfortunately, have a current gap in their awareness around suicide. They don't know what it's like to suffer. They don't know what it does to the people who survive long enough to grieve. It is ignorant. I think this is the perfect word to describe speech like this. The New Oxford American Dictionary defines the word ignorant as lacking knowledge, information, or awareness about a particular thing. Informally, ignorant can describe someone who is discourteous or rude. So the next time you hear someone casually say, "I'm going to kill myself," please kindly remind them to be mindful of what they're saying and avoid using language that shows disrespect to those who are no longer with us. I personally say, let's not say things we don't mean. While I may have pointed out ignorance in some people's language, I want to make it clear that it is not my goal to change how people speak. I also might not have life-changing advice. What I hope I demonstrated today is that other people can be as open as I am about mental illness. It does not have to be taboo. I'm really speaking to two people. The first person is suffering. I hope that person hears one thing. You are not alone. As T.D. Jakes once said, as weak as you are, as tired as you are, as many mistakes as you made, you do make a difference. There is something they would lose if you were not there. There is something that they would miss if you were not there. You do make a difference. Even though your brain might be telling you to isolate, you are responsible for reaching out for help, even to one person. It can save your life. This is not as simple as I'm explaining it. Some people don't want their life to be saved. Now I'm speaking to the second person. It is your responsibility to check in on someone whether or not they are showing signs of struggle. Hesitation can cause a lot of regret, a lifetime of it. You may be too late. That all starts with breaking down the stigma. I can't count the number of hours of therapy I've done. I can't count the number of medications I've been on. I can't count the number of lecture notes and handouts I have on mental health and addiction. Binders full. I don't have a degree, but I do have a doctorate on empathy and caring for others. Not from a university, but from lived experiences. I know what it's like to suffer and come out on the other side. You never know what someone's going through. Like I said at the beginning, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, always. One more quote to close us out. Motivational speaker Les Brown once said, "When someone says, 'I can't change,' some part of them wants to change. But the payoffs for his present behavior are greater than the payoffs for a changed behavior." Or, his fear of change is too great. He goes on to say, "Ladies and gentlemen, it takes courage to live your dreams. It takes courage to manifest your greatness. It takes courage to decide to live." If this talk helps one person, I will consider it a success. I don't know the number of people battling a mental illness alone right now, but it is too many. People are dying, millions of them. It's time to start talking. It's time to end the stigma. It's time to ignite change. It's time to shift. Let's make the invisible challenge visible. That's my time. Thank you.